Let's talk about marketing now as we move along on our business plan. Hopefully we've put the financial part of it behind us, although it would be very normal to have to go back and make some adjustments to those finances as we write up some other areas that we're working on throughout the business plan. So a couple things. First, of course, you can come to the templates, and the Word document business plan for a startup has a section, of course, that's devoted to marketing. I believe it starts on about page 7 if you look at it. This really is overall a pretty nice little template to work on for your business plan as a whole. And I'm going to cruise down at the top of page, whatever that is. 7 has the marketing plan. And it's not too bad. There's good things and bad things that about this particular template, outline, whatever you'd like to call it. And there's another one that's available under marketing. I know this isn't meant to really be confusing. It's more meant to be provide you alternatives as you write up your marketing plan. As I understand that different businesses are going to have way different methods and ways of going about it. So I think ultimately when you look at these two, please go through each of them and kind of pick and choose the best things for your plan. That said, there's a tendency, I think, for students to look at them and just kind of say, well, geez, this is in this one and it's not in this other one. I guess we don't have to do it. Instead of choosing to add more to their marketing plan, they're kind of saying, well, it's because it's not in both plans, we're just going to drop it, and then we end up getting shortchanged on the marketing plan. Don't do that. Look to expand this as much as possible. Marketing's this should be the biggest part of your narrative, of the narrative portion of your plan. The one outline, I think was 7 or 8 pages long. Just the outline. As you start filling that in, imagine that ought to be expanded to 10, 15, 20 pages, especially as you add some examples and whatnot. So here's the other marketing plan outline, and I'll show you it here. And I'll show you where I got this one from the internet. And in doing so, I think provide you some other tools. And there are other tools that are available, and they're kind of, I didn't intend to hide them, but I'll have to admit that where they're at is a little bit confusing perhaps. Okay, this marketing plan, I think in certain areas surely has more detail, and for that reason there's some of this that definitely should be incorporated. One of the examples is when you get down to the segmentation. It tells you a little bit more about what you ought to do there. When you get to the product's in the other one, but it doesn't, and the product part maybe is good, but it doesn't break it down here. You got product, price, distribution, and promotion. Okay, the 4 P's. You have to have the 4 P's in your marketing plan for sure. So again, pick and choose, combine, but combine in a sense that makes this a larger plan, if that makes sense. So let's go on again and take a look. I told you I've got marketing, so they got the marketing plan. Here's where you'll deposit, or the drop box for your marketing is under marketing. The other one was under templates. Okay, and that was the business plan, the larger business plan for a startup, which is definitely a good outline to use for the entire plan. Okay. And it's okay, it'll be okay to kind of keep adding to that. I don't have any problems with that, as long as I can clearly, find the section that we happen to be on. Be sure to use headings. Okay, absolutely necessary in this type of a project that you use headings and subheadings. As much as possible. It makes it a whole bunch easier to follow, and especially if you're going back to look for something. So make sure that you're using those headings. So the other place to go to is where I have links, and most of these links are related to marketing. They're all related to marketing to some extent. Okay, and other ones have a broader use as well. But if you, for example, click on this one that says Inc., This one's just a little bit of narrative, writing a business plan section by section. Okay, business plans by the numbers, so that's going to be more the financial part. Great resources. Go read these. A lot of these are not necessarily lengthy. Okay, how to set prices, how to write a memorable slogan. That might be a part of your marketing, right? Come up with a slogan. What a great thing to put on your cover page if you have a great slogan for your company. Just do it for Nike, for example. Okay, how to choose an accountant, how to conduct initial market research, how to put a marketing campaign on the cheap. Okay, again, these are not long reads. And this takes you to some additional links. Okay, but it gives you some good ideas, even just this, right? Just some of the short little statements that they make throughout here. It should give you some great ideas for you to incorporate into your plan. Most of you didn't budget a whole lot for advertising and promotions. There are other ways to promote your company. Bootstrapping is one of those. Okay, and so read through this, please. And again, they're not all going to fit your project, but make a little check by the ones that do and figure out how you can incorporate those into your marketing plan. Okay, so that was one. Oops. Sorry, it got a little bit. There was others. I think there's one other good one. How to put together a marketing campaign on the cheap. The one I clicked on. How to bring a new idea to market. This one didn't have a heck of a lot. Okay, so some pretty good information in there. Take a look at it, read it, see how you can incorporate that into your plan. Okay, we come back to the links. Let's see how I'm doing on time. Doing fine. So, writing a marketing plan. Click on that. Okay, boom. Again, a relatively short list of things that you ought to be able to incorporate, things that you ought to be able to pull over into those outlines or those templates that I've provided. This one talks about doing a SWOT, and I'll talk a little bit about that. The research, marketing research, and if I have had a complaint in the past is that folks tend to not fully research what they're going to be doing. Now, in our semester, we're going to be able to make up big surveys, send them out, do those types of things. Probably not. We probably don't have the time for those things. That's primary research. There may be some that you can do. There would be nothing wrong with doing a Survey Monkey survey and send it out to the people on your email list, see if you can get some responses. Nothing wrong with that. On the other hand, secondary research is extremely important as well. There's all kinds of resources out there, and we'll take a look at some of those, okay, to give you some ideas for your marketing plan. Things that'll tell you, how many potential customers are in let's say the Havre area, if Havre's where your business is going to be. What the demographics of them are, how much income they have, those types of things, easily available. Okay, and most of it you can do it right from your desk. Okay, this is a nice little write-up. Again, it's not terribly long. Okay, and a lot of these ideas you should be able to incorporate into your marketing plan that you're doing. Okay, so some good ideas there. Come back to the links. That was under the ink one too. I'm gonna come to this marketing plan outline. This is the same one that I have the Word doc for. Okay, same thing. But importantly, when you click on this link, it says Quick MBA in Marketing. If you come here to Marketing and I click on that, wow, look at this. Marketing plan, that's the template. I can click on market segmentation. Again, a short little read about how, what we talk about when we talk about segmentation: geographic, demographic, right? Psychographic, behavioral segmentation, just interesting stuff that you ought to be able to incorporate. Okay, and you come back up to marketing, look at all the things that you could look at and read that will certainly help you. I provide a lot of these because, frankly, my background is not in marketing, right? I'm more of a quantitative guy, the finance kind of guy, and my background's in finance. And so I've looked hard to find some resources that you can use, free resources, available resources to do this. But a lot of this doesn't work unless you do the other work, which is the research and whatnot that you need to do. So I think the last link that I hadn't clicked on was the Porter's 5 Forces. This, I want everybody to read through. Again, it's a relatively short read. Okay. If you choose to do a SWOT analysis, that's great. This is a different sort of analysis, and one can kind of replace the other, but I think as you read through this, it can give you some ideas that, again, you could incorporate into your marketing plan when you talk about things. Here's he breaks it down. There's 5 things, right? Porter's, that's why they call it Porter's 5 Forces, and it was created by Michael Porter, who's considered the guru of strategy, right? You talk about supplier power, and just in general, I'll talk a little bit about these. So if you're doing a coffee shop, where are you getting your coffee from? Is that something that's going to always be available? Is that something that they're going to be able to hold you over a barrel? Possibly. Are there presence of substitutes? Could you change suppliers pretty easily? Those types of things are things to look at in terms of supplier, right? Threat of new entrants. How difficult? Are there barriers to entry for other people to get into that particular type of a business? Maybe not. If not, how are you going to address that? Okay, buyer power, so your customers. If you're a retail firm or a service firm that's going to the ultimate end user, okay, can they switch easily? Can they find alternatives, substitutes? Okay, what are substitutes? Well, let's say you're doing a carpet cleaning business. Just to give you an example, one of the substitutes might be that they go buy their own shampooer, carpet shampooer, and do it themselves. Okay, so substitutes don't have to be other competitors. It can be other things, right? That may take the place of whatever it is you're looking at. I think in one of my other classes, somebody was talking about creating a video game company. Are there substitutes for that? Yeah, lots of substitutes. People might actually get out and engage in other activities, aside from either their phone or their computer, etc. And you talk about the threat of substitutes here, right? What they can do, what switching costs are, etc., etc. Ultimately, then, what's the degree of rivalry? So what other things are out there? So read through this. You could choose to create something like this and address many, if not all, of these questions that are asked in here. Or at the very least, you could certainly incorporate some of these into paragraphs that you want to talk about, right? Maybe 5 paragraphs that would discuss each of those, and still do a SWOT analysis: strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. I understand that they're very similar, but it might be something that you could look at doing. So this too, if you click on the Porter's 5 Forces, it brings you to this same, quick MBA, and marketing. Then you could certainly take a look at strategy. Strategy is also kind of a marketing thing, and there's nothing wrong with taking a look through these things here. Okay. Porter says that there's really 3 basic strategies, and I agree with that. And I think this is something you definitely need to incorporate into your plan. Is one of these strategies, right? You're either a differentiator, or you're a low-cost provider, or you're filling a niche. Okay, those are really the only 3 strategies. That doesn't mean they're mutually exclusive. You can be a differentiator, but you're still looking for ways to cut your costs, right? You can be a low-cost provider, but you're still looking for ways to differentiate your service. But I think it's important as you're writing your marketing plan to understand which one you're going to do. I'm about out of time. I'll do another video for marketing here quite soon.